about doing a reverse?
Sir, the engine's going to be far away.
Okay.
So you want to make sure you have all the supplies you're going to need.
Right, and the correct amount of hose, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you have to anticipate all your needs at the fire scene prior to sending your engine away, because once your engine's gone, it's gone, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we know how to do a single reverse would be pulling how many lines? One line. Dual reverse is pulling 2 lines. What would I do with that second line? Why do I want a second line there?
Done? Training done, sir. If just on the off chance that you might need to have a second attack line.
Okay, so I could possibly have a second attack line, right? What's part of the bacon strip? What's the B? Bundle. So we have bundles there, so we could have a couple 1 3/4 lines possibly off of that second line. Or, how many nozzles do we pull? 2. So we might anticipate putting another line in service and having 500 GPM flowing. What else?
Irons. As far as bacon, sir, or
as far as the reason why I would have a second line there.
You could also extend the line if you needed to. If not,
well, you'd be robbing from that line. I guess if you really needed to, yeah, you could steal a stick from it. Okay, depending.
So training beans in case the first line fails?
Yes and no. I mean, that's why you have a second attack line, but to possibly hook up to another engine, right? So,
yes,
your engine goes to where?
Supply.
The hydrant. That other line stays dry. They're pumping how many lines?
One.
Just one, right? Your attack line, possibly the second engine on scene, now pulls up on fire scene and takes that second line and hooks it into their what?
Pumper.
Their intake.
Intake, and then can tell the other engine now to send them water, and now they're doing what's called a what kind of pump? Relay pumping, right? He's relaying water from the hydrant to the engine. Now you have an engine on scene that has obviously more equipment, more hose, and it's kind of a better situation. Any questions on that? Okay, so for these evolutions, we're going to do firefighter on the engineer side, firefighter on the captain side. Okay? Firefighter on the engineer side. Captain gives the order. I need a single reverse, 100 feet of 2.5-inch working line with a fog nozzle and an equipment strip, also known as a bacon strip. Bacon strip, okay? So equipment strip. Okay? If you get to a department and say bacon strip, they might look at you like, what? Okay? Equipment strip. We use bacon here, so you have the acronym to kind of use of what to pull. Okay? So, being the engineer, firefighter on engineer side, he's going to say,
you want a single reverse, 100 feet of working line with an equipment strip, a fog tip, and service.
Okay? Is that the same thing? Okay, so he gets off. Steps off the rig. As he's walking back, you notice he's passing cabinets, right? He's only going to the cabinets that have part of his equipment strip or his bacon. So, he opens the bottom one, pulls out both nozzles.
Follow down, bell shut.
Pulls out both clamps. Sets them under tailboard, right, out of his working area. Shuts it. Pulls his irons. Set them off towards the fire side. We're gonna simulate that that's fire side. Starts his, what's that called when he sets it down over there?
Set irons?
No?
Oh, his working space, sir.
Okay, but where's he putting it? What are you gonna call that?
Fire side.
Area where his equipment is. An equipment
area.
Equipment pool, okay? It's called equipment pool. So he's starting his equipment pool. Okay. Now he's in charge of what?
100 feet.
So firefighter on the engineer side strips it. Could he just walk back and start pulling his hose? He could, but does it make sense to pass 2 cabinets that he can easily grab equipment on? No, so we're gonna have him grab that equipment, throw it under tailboard, and then initiate his pull, okay? He steps down off the rig, same way. He knows fire side, we always put the hose on which shoulder? Fire side, like he has it, and he begins to walk out at a diagonal. And he's gonna guess at 50 feet, but he's also listening for that coupling to hit. Sets the coupling down and yells 50. Runs back. Look at which side he's walking on. Is he walking on my side or the inside of the rig?
Inside.
Okay, inside, right? So if you pull the line, break off back towards the inside, I don't have to cross my line in order to grab another stick and start assisting with the pull. So break off opposite fire side. Okay? Alright, so now let's say he's working on that. Okay? Firefighter on the captain's side. He's going to repeat the same order.
Single reverse, 100 feet of working line, equipment strip, fog tip and service.
First compartment he comes to has the bottles. Grabs both bottles, shuts his cabinet, walks it over to his equipment pool. Comes back. Be careful if the person on the engineer or the firefighter on the engineer side is pulling line, because couplings are going to be coming out of the bed. So pause, and when he stops and that coupling drops, go in and get your bundle. Okay? Now he grabs his bundle. Now if timing's right, let's say he just dropped the other firefighter dropped the coupling out there, he can bump in here and possibly start assisting with this. Okay. Now, do we have the correct amount of hose on the ground?
Sure, sir.
Okay. Do we have our complete equipment strip?
Sure, sir.
Okay, so between the two firefighters, if I was in charge of pulling the hose, he was in charge of the equipment strip. He looked. Did you see him look?
Sure.
I'm kind of eyeballing, making sure that our equipment strip is there. Good?
Good.
Okay. We just confirmed we have all our equipment before sending the rig, and then one guy saying, wait, I forgot the irons. Okay? So just use your eyes, kind of take a glance, make sure you have it before you send the rig. Problem is, once you send the rig, it's gone. You're not going to have it on the fire scene. Okay, now, one firefighter stays here and does what?
Sequence.
C folds, right? Is the coupling in the right spot? Up and away? Okay.
Sir.
We're not going to stand in front. If there's a coupling here, you're not going to ever stand here. You would spot it here. Understand that?
Yes,
Okay, so he's away from the coupling. It's in forward of him. He C-folds the rig, gets a nice firefighter stance, and says,
Lay line!
okay, he is already on that side. So let's say it drives away. Would it be wrong if I stood over here? Does it really matter?
No, sir.
It's not the end of the world, so don't think, oh, I have to get on this side in order to send the rig. Okay? Most important, C-fold it, thumbs up, try and get in the mirror with the engineer, and then have him lay a line. Okay? What are we waiting for?
Next coupling.
How many?
Two couplings.
2 couplings or 100 feet. Okay? Or you feel the tension off the line. Okay. Rig sends. It drives to the fire. Okay. Take this part out of the equation. Don't let it confuse you. Engine drives off, couplings start to fall. The person that C-folded it is probably now going to do what? Run to the other end and put a nozzle on, or grab a clamp?
Have a clamp.
Work it out amongst yourselves. There's no set he has to grab a clamp, but if I'm here, I would think I would just go grab a clamp and set a clamp, because most importantly we want to do what? Clamp the line prior to sending water. Okay? So, he runs back, grabs a clamp. There's his coupling. Where does he go?
On this side, sir.
Oh,
wrong.
good. So supply side of the coupling, how far back?
5 to 6 feet.
5 to 6 feet, okay? Finds his area, steps over if he have to, right to left, make sure it's latched, clamps it. Is his foot in the right spot?
Sir, no, sir.
Okay, where does he want it? There you go, latch side, behind the clamp somewhat, and he clamps his line. Okay, then what's he say?
Water.
Water!
Right? Because he wants water to the clamp. Okay, simultaneously, while this is happening, second firefighter grabs the correct nozzle that he was told. So he said fog. So while this firefighter is placing the clamp, that firefighter has a nozzle and is now nozzling up at the end.
Yep. Chris.
And then extends his line. Why would we want to extend it first?
Help slack out.
It's more difficult to move a charged 2.5 inch line than it is or a wet than it is a dry or a charged versus uncharged. Okay. He's going to do a single person operation, so he's putting it in a hotel coil. We're saying fire's over here somewhere. Anytime we throw water today, we'll lob it into this open area right here, not on any of their equipment. His coupling is perpendicular to his nozzle, like you were taught on a hotel coil. He said within 18 inches of the coupling, correct? Okay. Now he's ready for water. So, if I'm the original firefighter that set the clamp, I would say water coming. Okay. Is this correct?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay. Slowly open the clamp. Lead him water. Okay. Take my clamp off. And lay it down. Why do we lay it down?
The engineer doesn't think that it's on, sir.
Correct. Okay. It's not in view, looking like it's a clamp line. So now, nozzle person has water. He's flowing the line. Okay. What would I do if I'm going to back him up? If all my job is done, I don't have any more jobs to do around here, and I'm going to back him up. What's something I'm going to do on my way? Take out the kink. So follow the line. And by follow it, I mean visually follow it. Don't follow it in a circle, because we've seen people do that here. Visually follow it and take out whatever kinks you may need to, and then possibly back up the nozzle then. Any questions?
Sir, by backing him up, do you like sit behind him, or?
You can sit behind him if you need to. Maybe you're going to take it out of a hotel coil, shut it down, take it out of a hotel coil, get in a two-person firefighter position on a 2.5. You might push it in closer. Why do I have two nozzles? Well, you're not going to use it on a bundle. Why did I pull two nozzles?
Sir, isn't that for the second line?
Well, there's only one line here. I said single reverse.
Just in case you need to switch
Why would I
streams
need to switch?
from defensive or offensive to defensive, maybe.
Okay. Or what does that nozzle give you that nozzle
Or
doesn't?
more
It gives you a solid stream.
more solid stream.
Gives you
Okay.
a further
Reach.
the water, yeah, further reach.
So you get more reach and better penetration. Okay? So that's why you have a second nozzle, or vice versa, and or something possibly goes wrong with your nozzle. Okay? Any questions on this?
Yes, sir, train Brian, sir. So if we have that one there, are we going to take the nozzle with us? Just leave it there?
Nope, you're going to leave it right there. As the engine drives off, you'll see the hose will kind of cover where you're at, cover where your equipment, you're just going to leave it there.
Why wouldn't we want to put that in our working pool as well? Since the rest of our equipment's there.
You could. That's not always going to stick it under there. You could put it in your equipment pool. The reason being is when you start doing reverses with Captain Velada, you'll set it under there for a certain reason. So we keep it the same here. Questions? No? Okay, let's talk about this. So we did a single. Now we're going to do a reverse, a dual reverse. So, difference meaning I have to pull off two lines. Our equipment strips for each person is going to be the same. Except, when this person starts pulling this line, so if Captain Gabbard makes his initial pull, let's say I bump in, we are going to complete the pull on the fire side first prior to initiating our second pull or our second line for our dual. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you might get two different lengths. Listen up to the lengths. He might say 150 feet of working line fire side, 50 feet non-fire side. Okay, so you're going to have different lengths, but you're not going to pull the initial pull together, and you're not going to pull that pull until this pull is complete. Your fire side is complete. Any other questions? We're still going to clamp both. Okay, I preferably clamp fire side. Logically, doesn't that make sense to you that if they're going to flow water, it's going to be on the fire side, so you might want to clamp that one first so you can get water on that line first, and then move over to the other clamp.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Question over here?
Yes, can you just repeat the command one more time?
For which one? Single or reverse? Or dual? Single. I need 150 feet of working line with a fog tip and an equipment strip. Okay? He says it a little bit different. It's still the same thing. Okay? Single reverse, 100 feet of working line, fog tip and an equipment strip. Or you might hear smoothbore tip and an equipment strip.
So would you, if you did a dual, sir, you sent the engine off, put your clamp on, would you call for water and wait for this one before setting up the clamp on the second one, sir?
Do you think that could get confusing? What if the engineer beat you to it?
That could be confusing, sir.
Ultimately, if you were in the perfect working relationship and he saw you, you were in visual sight, he could see it, you might be able to tell him water on this line and he might charge only this one. But it's always nice that if you're going to put one clamp on, how long does it take you to put the other on a dry line?
Not long at all, sir.
15 seconds maybe if you're pretty quick. Clamp it, call for water. Now he's not going to have any confusion on which line to charge, which one not to charge. If he is going to charge both of them, once again, it might be a little different depending on the situation.
Sir, yes, sir.
He might leave the one dry, waiting for the second engine, or he might charge it up to the clamp because you might be putting it in service with bundles, something different.
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay? So it's not always dry, it's not always wet, always clamp it though, because we don't want to have open butts.
Sir, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Safety. Anything else?
Who seafolds the second one too?
You seafold them together. Good question. The other group kind of put them together, set them on top, put both lines flat on each other, and then seafold them. Okay? Engine sends, separate them, separate your lines. That way it's easy to charge whichever line. They're not crisscrossed and over, making it more confusing than it needs to be.
Okay.
Questions, comments? We're ready to do it?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Captain Gabbard, can you think of anything?
Everybody understands bacon, right?
Sir,
B
yes, sir.
stands for,
Bundle.
Bundle.
A stands for
Axe.
axe, which is really
Iron.
irons. C stands for
Clamp.
Clamp. Two clamps.
Two clamps.
O stands for
O2.
Oxygen.
O2, which is really
SCBA.
bottles, and the N.
Nozzles.
Nozzles.
Two nozzles.
Two
Two
nozzles.
Everybody understands where an equipment pool is set up.
Sir, yes, sir.
Close proximity to the engine, out of the way of the street or travel or traffic. Typically, if you can, on fire side. If you can't, that's okay. But if you can put it on fire side, notice it's not far from the engine, right? You don't want to put it way over there because what's happening? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. You're wasting time. Make sense?
Sir, yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, let's load it.